Example 10. If a store has 8 westerns and 12 science fiction movies, how many ways can you rent 5 movies if you want to rent at least 2 westerns? All right, so this one's a bit tricky because of this phrase at least. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So at the end of the day, you're walking into the store. The store has 8 westerns available and 12 science fiction movies available. You're renting 5 movies between westerns and science fiction movies. Okay, so what's happening here? Like I said, this phrase at least is very important. You want at least 2 westerns. Okay. So there's different possibilities here, okay? So again, remember, you're renting a total of 5 movies between the westerns and the science fiction movies, okay? So you've got some different possibilities here, okay? If you're going to rent at least 2 westerns, that means 2 westerns or more, okay? So you could rent 2 westerns and 3 science fiction movies, okay? Because that would be 2 plus 3, that's a total of 5 movies, and 2 of them, at least 2 of them are westerns, okay? Or you could rent 3 westerns and 2 science fiction movies, okay? Because that would, again, total 5, okay? You've got 3 westerns, so that's at least 2 westerns, okay? Or you could do 4 westerns and then 1 science fiction film, okay? That would work, okay? And then the last possibility, which would be to do all 5 of them being westerns and 0 science fiction movies, okay? So each of these 4 possibilities satisfies this condition, okay? You've got a total of 5 movies and at least 2 of them are westerns, okay? So there's 4 different options here, okay? So what's going to happen here is we're going to have to calculate the number of ways each of these possibilities can be done, okay? So let's take a look at 2 westerns and 3 science fiction movies, okay? So you're going to have blanks here because remember, there's not just 2 westerns in the store. There's a total of 8 westerns, and you're going to be in this first condition, out of the 8 westerns, you're going to be choosing 2, okay? And same thing with the science fiction films, okay? There's 12 of those total, and you're going to be choosing 3 of them, okay? Again, you've got to realize, is this a permutation or is this a combination? Okay. Well, again, think. Okay. Think about in like this first condition. If you have 2 westerns in your hand, okay, and you have 3 science fiction films in your hand, and these are your 5 movies that you're renting, okay. So if you took these 5 movies in your hands and you mixed them up, it would still be the same 5 movies in your hand that you're renting, okay. So order is irrelevant here. So this is going to be a combination, okay. So for this first situation where you're renting 2 westerns and 3 science fiction films, okay, you're going to have to handle the westerns and the science fiction films separately because you have choices, okay. So we know it's going to be a combination, okay. So for the westerns, there are 8 westerns total, and you're going to be choosing 2 of them, okay. And then same thing for the science fiction films, okay. It's a combination because order doesn't matter. There's 12 of them to choose from, and you're going to be picking 3, okay. So that's how you're going to set this up, okay. So you're going to multiply these together because this is multiplication principle. You've got your blank for the Western, blank for the science fiction films. You're going to have to multiply them together to get the total number of ways this is the total number of ways you can rent 2 Westerns and 3 science fiction films, okay? So let's go to our calculator here, and we're going to do, let's see here. Hold on, I lost my place. We're going to do 8 choose 2 and 12 choose 3. Okay, so we're going to do 8 choose 2 and then 12 choose 3. Okay, so this is going to be 28 times 220. Okay, and that's going to be, if we multiply these numbers together, this is going to tell us the number of possible ways to rent 2 Westerns and 3 science fiction films. Okay, so 6,160 different ways. Okay, and that's only for the first option for renting 2 Westerns and 3 science fiction films. Okay, you've got these other available options to satisfy your conditions of 5 movies with at least 2 Westerns. So we're going to have to go to each of these other situations, the 3 Westerns, 2 science fiction films, 4 Westerns, 1 science fiction film, and then all Westerns. And we're going to have to calculate the number of ways those can be done. Okay, so let's move on and let's look at the second option, okay, in which you choose 3 Westerns and 2 science fiction films. Okay, it's going to work the same way. You're going to have your blanks, the Westerns and the science fiction films. Okay, when you do the Westerns, there's still 8 to choose from, but now you're picking 3 of the Westerns. Okay, and then you're going to do your science fiction. Okay, so there's still 12 to choose from, but this time you're picking only 2 of those. Okay, so we're going to go to our calculator and we're going to do 8 choose 3, 12 choose 2. Okay, so we're going to do, let's see here, we're going to do 8 choose 3, and then 12 choose 2. Okay, so we're going to have 56 times 66. Okay, we've got to multiply it together because of the multiplication principle. Go to your calculator. Let's see what this gives us. Okay, so this is going to be 3,696. Okay, so that's saying that, you know, in order to, there's 3,696 different ways to choose 3 Westerns and 2 science fiction films. Okay, that's a lot of ways. All right, so moving on to the next possibility. Okay, so in this case, okay, you're choosing 4 of the Westerns and 1 science fiction film. Okay, so do your blanks. Okay, so this time for the Westerns, there's 8 to choose from. You're picking 4 of them. And for science fiction, there's still 12 to choose from. You're choosing 1. Okay, so we're going to have to go to the calculator and put in 8 choose 4 and 12 choose 1. Okay, so let's do that. So we're going to have 8 choose 4 and 12 choose 1. Okay, so it's going to be 70 times 12. Okay, let's go figure that out. So that's going to be 840 different ways to rent 4 Westerns and 1 science fiction film. Okay. All right, our last possibility would be to rent all Westerns. Okay, so again, do your blanks. We've got Westerns and science fiction. Okay, let me move this one down a little bit so I can fit it. All right, so when we're here for the Westerns, there are 8 to choose from. We're going to choose 5 of the Westerns. And then for science fiction, there's 12 to choose from, but we're going to pick 0 of those. Okay, so go to the calculator. 8 choose 5, 12 choose 0. Okay, so 8 choose 5, and then 12 choose 0. Okay, so this is going to give us 1. Okay, so 56 and 1. Okay, so multiply those together. That's going to be 56. Okay, so you did all 4 possibilities. Okay, what do you do with these numbers? Okay, because remember, the overall question is asking you, in how many ways can you rent 5 movies if you want to rent at least 2 Westerns? Okay, so each of these 4 options were viable. They satisfied those conditions. Okay, so we know how many different ways each situation can be done. And so since each situation is possible, what you have to do to get the final answer is add all these numbers. Okay, so you need to do 6,160, add that to 3,696 plus 840 plus 56. Okay, so you're taking each situation, figuring out how many ways it can be done, and then you're adding up all of your options. Okay, so let's go to the calculator and do this. Okay, so this is going to be 6,160, okay, plus 3,696 plus 840 plus 56. Okay, this is the number of ways you can do this. Okay, so there's 10,752 ways to rent 5 movies if you want at least 2 Westerns.